Welcome to Awareness Expansion. I felt called today to speak a little bit more about how we experience consciousness. And we experience it from a duality perspective, as I talked about in the last video, and relative to ascending and descending energies within our own physical body, and right brain consciousness representing divine feminine qualities, left brain consciousness representing divine masculine qualities. And the way that plays out is right brain consciousness is creativity and wholeness and unconditional love is what you experience in right brain consciousness. It is where all creation individuates from. And like we individuated out from this right brain consciousness, our left brain consciousness did. So right brain consciousness was always there. And we developed in a way that left brain consciousness started to develop so that we could perceive ourselves as individuated aspects, which we call the ego and the illusion of who we are. And it's also where we take action, and it's also where we experience linear time. We do not perceive time in a linear fashion where right brain consciousness is concerned. Left brain consciousness is linear time. We've been out of balance where these two aspects have been concerned for at least 5,000 years, if not longer. When we entered the age of Aries is really when that started to become more imbalanced. And as we descended over the last 12,000 years further into the left brain consciousness, that played out in our experience where we just became more materialistic. Because you think about left brain consciousness as bringing everything into the material plane. It is the area that we take action. It is very problem solving and very structured. And the ego aspect very much was at its all time high. We've been in that place. And so when you understand these things, that we've all been influenced by these things because of the time we were in, you just have so much more compassion for the collective in regards to we've been influenced in this way. But we do have free will. And as our awareness increases about these things, we can understand that we were out of balance. There's so much suffering that occurs as a result of that. And many times we're making decisions that are promoting that imbalance. And that is still happening. The way that you want to think about nature is in right brain consciousness. And if we're making decisions that are out of balance with nature, then that really hurts ourselves. That hurts us, not just nature, it hurts us because you can't separate yourself from that. We are nature. We are the cosmos. That is one of the things that I love about astrology is it helps you understand yourself better and your connection to the cosmos better and how the cosmos is playing out through our experience. The saying as above, so below. Astrology is a language, and it is a language that describes qualities of energy where the cosmos is concerned. And it is a path to understand the cosmos and therefore understand ourselves on a deeper level. And so Carl Jung understood this. Carl Jung understood that we're not just the sum of our experiences in an incarnation, we're also being influenced on a subconscious level by what is happening in the cosmos. It's a combination of those things that's influencing our behavior, that's influencing our choices, and when you can increase someone's awareness about how they're being influenced by these energies within the cosmos, it's very therapeutic in the sense that you can have more compassion and more acceptance and more love for yourself. And you can understand, oh, okay, there's a high road and a low road to these energies. And it's really about finding the balance. Just like everything else, it's all about finding the balance where these things are concerned. But you did come into this timeline and this incarnation with a blueprint plan. So you could consider that God's plan for you. You came in with that. And you're life is going through this process of remembering what your plan is. A lot of people will innately and intuitively, because they have a really strong connection where the right brain consciousness is concerned, because that's always guiding them. That is what is playing out through your experience, and that is shaping your reality. And many people have a stronger connection and awareness where that is concerned. Other people, not so much, because there's so much in that left brain consciousness that they're not as intuitively connected where that right brain consciousness is concerned. And so as a result of these things, the more that you understand where you yourself is concerned, you can certainly understand the cosmos. You can certainly understand other people better. You can certainly understand the time we are in better. You can certainly understand yourself in other timelines, because you are also in other timelines. You are not just in this timeline. Because you, from a right brain consciousness perspective, from a timeless perspective, you have always existed. You're a forever being. And so you are also in other timelines. And you can access yourself in other timelines through this right brain consciousness. You can. There's so much that I will share on that, and so much that I can say on that. But I just want you to understand that your individuated self, this ego aspect that we so much identify with in this lifetime, is so just a limited aspect of who we are, just a very limited aspect of who we are. And we individuated to basically go through this process like hero's journey of finding out who we really are and remembering who we really are and coming back into that awareness of love for the truth of who we are, which is that right brain consciousness aspect. That is the truth of who we are. And the truth of who we are is the awareness behind everything. That this is an illusion that serves a purpose for our own journey to return to the truth of who we are. Right now, we're in a time where we just left this 24,000-year processional cycle, and we're entering into a new one. And brain consciousness is being really activated at this time. Many people are very aware of that, so you'll probably hear people on other channels speak to that. It's an opportunity to get back into balance where our left and right brain consciousness is concerned. Because we have gotten so out of balance, and what we have created has really negatively impacted the world, and it's imbalance now as a result of that. We cannot continue that way. It's just not sustainable. Something has to shift and change to get back into balance. So that's either going to be an internal experience for each and every one of us to make that shift internally, or something will happen externally to force that to happen. And that's just how it happens in each of our individual experiences as well. If we have a natal blueprint and you get off track where your plan for your life has been, that you agreed to upon coming into this incarnation, something in your external world will happen to get you back on track. And so sometimes it's challenging things that will happen as a result. That's not a punishment. It's just the nature of cause and effect. And it's meant to help you get back on track. It's meant to help you. We're at this critical time where we can work to balance ourselves, where our consciousness is concerned, and where the divine masculine and feminine principles are concerned. And it is an inside job. Ideally, it's an inside job for each and every one of us to change our external world, to change it. And when you have this balance between right and left brain consciousness, the center of that aspect is where you find excellence of action. And you're finding that because you're allowing yourself, the left brain consciousness is seeking to understand what right brain consciousness is showing it, and to guide it and to teach it And so it's being informed by right brain consciousness. And in doing so, you're being informed in terms of what action to take and when to take it. But the left brain consciousness has to seek to understand that. That's the way it happens. But from that is born, out of that center is born excellence of action. So it would be the best thing that you could have done at the perfect time that you could have done it. It comes from that place. It is a place that we can be in our true essence and our true sovereignty and our true discernment. And we need that today more than ever because so many people are outsourcing what to do. They're letting external influences tell them who they should be and how to act, and really takes them away from who they truly are. And so we need to come back to who we are. And I would just say, come home to that. You need to come home to the truth of who you are and getting back to this balance within. And then we will be able to see balance in the world. So, how do we do that? First, I would say having some awareness around that is huge. And again, we're going to talk about that a lot in here. But practices that help you balance yourself, help you balance right and left brain consciousness are extremely valuable, very helpful, and healing. And that is actually how we're going to heal our world, is to get this balance back and ourselves, as I mentioned. So practice attunement, which it acknowledges this duality, and it works with what we call the 7 gates of the body, which are endocrine glands. We engage in a practice to attain that balance. And it really has a significant impact, especially if you're practicing it relatively regularly. It can have a huge impact. So, attunement is one of those things that here soon I'm going to offer for people who want to engage in that and experience it. I mentioned biogeometry in here before. Biogeometry is incredible in that it acknowledges the fact that there's a way to measure quality of energy. And Dr. Ibrahim Karim, the founder of biogeometry, has created tools for us to measure quality of energy and ways to also balance it. And if you can balance your environment that you're in, it has an effect on your balance. Because a lot of us are compensating within ourselves to try to reach that balance in spite of the environment we're in. I've been in holistic health for 25 years, and so much of my work with people is to get them back to balance, is to get their systems back into balance. And then that helps their body heal itself, which is exactly what we're talking about. And so that body has what it needs to be able to heal itself. And a lot of my work I've done for many years is in regards to that. And we work with nature in doing that because nature has a balancing effect. And we need that so much more now as a result of what we have created from a left brain consciousness perspective that was not taking guidance from right brain consciousness. It really created things that caused imbalance in the world. And getting that balance back is the key. So if I work with a patient and I help balance their systems, but their environment that they're in is still out of balance, then I'm constantly compensating or constantly having to support them because of the effects that the environment is having on them. So it really is hugely beneficial to balance the environment that they are in, which has an effect on them getting back into balance as well. Are there still things that they may need to do? Absolutely. If they're not drinking enough water, if they're not eating in ways to stabilize their blood sugar, we need to work on that. So there'll still be things like that, but they're not going to experience the same degree of mental, emotional, and physical stress that they would in an unbalanced environment. So it has such a huge impact. So understanding these principles has everything to do with how we're building a community where that is energetically harmonized, that we can be in balance with nature again. We can be in balance between this right and left brain consciousness again. And that's just another way of saying being balanced with nature and all of creation. That our individuated ego selves is making decisions that is in the best interest of everything and all. We're in a time where this is critical and crucial. I love listening to other individuals that are on this same resonance as far as information is concerned. And I was listening this morning, a recording of Heather Ensworth and her guest speaker were speaking about this subject matter. They didn't explain it in terms of left and right brain consciousness, but they would just say divine masculine, divine feminine, which is what that is. We're talking about three-eye atlas, basically how it's coming into our solar system and the planets that it's passing by. And we're hitting a choice point December 19th when it passed, like right before the winter solstice, and it's passing by the Earth. And the choice is, are we going to get back into balance? I know that's why I'm here. So much of what's in my natal blueprint is that I'm here to help you get back into balance. And I've been doing that for 25 years professionally, where people's physical bodies are concerned. But now it's even more expanded at this point because we're at this major choice point. They were describing that if a certain percentage of us are not in that mental and emotional and heart space to seek the balance, then Three Atlas will, right now it's on a trajectory to go past Earth and then go by Jupiter. But if we do not make this choice point to seek the balance and get back into balance again, then it will change its direction and go by Saturn, which is the planet of karma. And we'll have to rinse, wash, and repeat. And that would lead to this world dissolving and then starting another one. That's the way I would describe it. How that plays out, it depends. But we have a choice, right? I want to help you. I want to help you seek that balance. I want to help you get back into that balanced state, but it's an inside job. So we have to work internally towards that. If you're interested in engaging with my community that I already have, I have a Telegram community right now. We practice attunement in the mornings, every morning. You can come in and try attunement, see how it influences you. It has such a profound effect. I'll talk more about what somebody could experience through attunement, but it's just a beautiful practice to come into that balance and really be able to experience the truth of who you are. In the right brain consciousness, all there is from an emotional standpoint is just divine, unconditional love. And so it's just beautiful. So, anyway, I hope this is helpful. Again, I will provide some more information over time where this is concerned. Some people already have an awareness of astrology as a language and explaining quality of energies and the different archetypes that we experience in astrology. So if anybody's interested in having a reading done, there's layers and layers of what you can go through in terms of helping somebody understand themselves where astrology is concerned. And there's different approaches, like I'm trained in astrology, but also medical astrology. So I'm using that as well to inform myself where many of my patients today are concerned is what do we need to look at and what do we need to support ongoing where their natal blueprint, how that's influencing their physical body. Like, how do we need to do that? I just want you to know that you have a very specific, unique energy signature that is yours and yours alone. We would want to support that, your specific energy signature. I also want to mention that when you think about this energy signature and you think about connecting with other aspects, you do this through resonance, something called resonance. You're resonating with that thing. So, for example, if I wanted to understand a plant better, the ancient way of doing that, and we are the ancients, by the way, we are the ancients. Like I said, you're not just in this timeline, you're in other timelines. You could resonate with that plant or planet, and you can get information from that. You can, in your consciousness, receive information about what is this plant about? What does it do for you? How does it help you? Not just in left brain ways or left brain consciousness ways of knowing, but in right brain consciousness ways of knowing. I also want to mention that AI, there's a lot of debate over artificial intelligence and that it will surpass us. Yes, but only in left brain consciousness ways. Only in left brain consciousness ways. It will not in right because it's not connected to the right. It's created from a left brain consciousness perspective, and that is where it will surpass us, but not from a right brain consciousness knowing perspective. I just want you to understand that because we might start seeing more and more of is AI superior, so we should just merge with AI so that we can be superior. But you'll just be giving up your sovereignty because your sovereignty really is that union between right and left brain consciousness. So if you merge entirely, if you're going to really separate yourself from the right and letting AI run the show for you, you will be limited in that way because yes, it will excel in left brain consciousness ways of knowing, but all knowing is in the right. All knowing, higher learning, higher awareness is in the right. And we can connect with other beings. We can connect with planets, we connect with plants, we can connect with nature, we can connect with the cosmos, we can connect with others to have an awareness within our consciousness about what they're about. And some people would say that's telepathy or that's psychic or whatever. Yeah, yeah. But it's really just resonance. It's just being able to resonate with that thing, to have an awareness of that thing. And you get information that comes into your awareness because you're resonating with it. So some people would call that quantum entanglement. You could look at it like that. But that's the ancients understood this. And that's how they received so much of their information about how things worked. And certainly would document things, of course. But we just need to come back to these awarenesses that the left brain ways of knowing are very limited. They're very limited. We do need that aspect because we do need to be able to take action. And we can also observe and interact with our divine aspect that we always have access to. And that reflection of that love is experienced. That's experienced. And so it's a beautiful thing. So that's it for today. I'll make another video when it feels right, because again, I'm letting my right brain consciousness inform the left brain consciousness, what actions to take and when to take it. That's really, in my opinion, how we should be living, as opposed to linear time dictating everything. And coming from me, that's different because I'm typically very structured, and we do need some structure for sure, but a new way of living is just, it brings back the magic to living and brings back this, it's like a child learning new things and it's just wondrous and you're just experiencing brain consciousness just guiding you and showing you, and it just becomes magical. And that is how we were meant to live. And so we need to come back to that. All right. So we'll be talking more about that. I am planning on doing something special for December 19th and the winter solstice because it is such a important time for us to come into balance. Okay, so I will let you know about that as well. Blessings.